Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Got a fascinating case here sent to me by Dan King at the Institute for Justice. And this is a press release. They send these out, so if you follow them, you can subscribe to get these kinds of notices. But here's a case they're working on. They've called on a city in Arkansas to remove surveillance camera from in front of an innocent family's home. And they've also suggested that maybe the city should not renew its contract with the camera company, but that'd be another step. So the Institute for Justice sent a letter to city officials in Greers Ferry, Arkansas, demanding they remove a license plate reader camera that was installed directly in front of the home of this couple that contacted the Institute for Justice. The letter also calls on city officials to not renew their contract with the automated license plate reader that the company that makes these things when the initial terms expire, and it's Flock Safety. We talked about Flock cameras before. And a lot of cities are installing these cameras. And the cameras will be like, imagine an intersection. Main Street and First Street, okay, or something. Big intersection. They put cameras there, and it records everybody who goes through the intersection. Well, number one, that doesn't record everybody in town. It's just people who went through that intersection. And, it's traffic, right? But if they put this camera in front of your house, aimed at your house, while it does get cars that go by your house, it also gets you every time you come and go from your house. Last year, the city of Greers Ferry entered into the contract with Flock Safety to install 5 Flock Safety Falcon license plate reader cameras around the city. These cameras photograph every vehicle that drives by and analyzes the license plate number and the vehicle features. Then the cameras upload the photos to a server where the technology can analyze vehicle trends, for example, how often a certain vehicle is spotted at a certain location. Hey, we figured out these people live here because we put a camera in front of their house and a car leaves in the morning and comes back in the afternoon. That's useful. The family cannot enter or leave their own driveway without the city's camera capturing a picture of their movements, says Joshua Wyndham, a senior attorney at the IJ. He co-directs their project on the Fourth Amendment. He says, simply put, the city's put the family under a state of constant surveillance, where they're effectively being treated as criminal suspects, even though they've done nothing wrong. So in case you're curious, the couple, the husband retired from 2 decades as a police officer, and the wife retired from her career as a teacher. And they moved to Greers Ferry, hoping to be nice and quiet and peaceful. Small town life. In May of 2025, the city installed the cameras and put one of them directly across from this family's driveway, and the camera is facing their property. Smile, you're on candid camera. As positioned, the camera captures their driveway and a good chunk of their front yard. After the camera was installed, the husband reached out to the police chief to express his concerns and was told it's not moving. The following month, the couple sent a letter to city council raising Fourth Amendment concerns and asking officials once again to consider moving the camera. Then in July, the husband appeared before the city council to reiterate his concerns. At that meeting, city officials doubled down, and an attorney told the man, if you want the camera moved, my suggestion would be to get a court order. And the police chief added, we have no plans to move the camera. Now, interestingly, when you tell someone to go get a court order, you got to be careful what you wish for, because there are people out there who might try to go get a court order. So the man says, every time my family, friends, children, or grandchildren come to leave, play in the yard, or try to enjoy our private property, we're being photographed and added to a database without consent or violation of any law. So they've done nothing wrong, and they're being photographed. So the Institute for Justice letter argues that Greer's Ferry use of the Flock cameras poses 2 distinct Fourth Amendment concerns. The placement of a camera directly in front of their home amounts to long-term surveillance that can reveal their comings and goings. 2 different state Supreme Courts have ruled that placing a surveillance camera in front of a home for months without a warrant is unconstitutional. Making matters worse, Greers Ferry's camera is located in front of this home for an indefinite period, meaning they're just putting it there and leaving it there. And in the other cases, they tried to make the arguments, well, we just put it up for a while just to watch this home without a warrant. Second, even if the camera wasn't located directly in front of these people's home, the decision to place several Flock cameras throughout the city may still violate the Fourth Amendment. In Carpenter versus U.S., the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that using cell phone location data to retrace a person's past movements was a search that requires a warrant. Using cameras to capture the movements of every person who drives through the city is also a search that requires a warrant under the Fourth Amendment, argues the Institute for Justice. So as part of its project on the Fourth Amendment, the IJ filed a first of its kind federal lawsuit against the city of Norfolk, Virginia, over its use of automated license plate readers. And in February 2025, a judge ruled the lawsuit against the city could move forward, saying a reasonable person could believe that society's privacy expectations, as laid out by the court in Carpenter, are being violated by the flock system here. So it's an interesting case. And as with a lot of these kinds of cases, number one, this very well could work its way up, and someday someone's going to be asking the Supreme Court to hear it. I have a sneaky feeling that's what's going to happen. Unless the city just decides, okay, fine, we'll move that camera. But it sounds like with or without that one camera pointing at that one house, they might pursue this anyway. But getting back to the example of just a busy intersection someplace, a lot of those intersections have been with stature and already have cameras there. They've got cameras to see if you run the red light. They've got cameras to see if you're speeding, all kinds of stuff. And so if they're photographing every single vehicle that passes by in a public place, in a place where if a police officer was standing there, he could see your plate, or she could see your plate as you went by. But there is something big brotherish about putting some kind of data gathering snooping device and just having it hoover up everything that passes by. And there's something creepy about that. Now, I've heard of cases before where there was a crime that was committed, and somebody called the police and said, hey, crime got committed, and I can describe the vehicle to you, but not the plate. And the vehicle went that way on such and such road. And they happened to know that the person probably drove by some flock cameras. So using a vehicle description, they then matched it up with a plate and went with that. And yeah, it's a crime-fighting device. But just because something helps fight crime doesn't mean it passes constitutional muster. And that's always the concern. And so I was kind of surprised. I remember going to law school and studying criminal procedure and so on a while ago, last century. And I remember reading a lot of the Fourth Amendment cases and seeing how these laws have evolved over time. And it's not that the courts can't get this stuff right. It's that technology changes. And if you had said to somebody back in the 1960s that they're going to put a camera at an intersection and photograph every single car that goes by, and the device will be able to not only photograph the car and get a clear photo of the license plate, but also of the car itself, identify the car using AI, and then send all that information to a central database that can be searched almost in real time. You go, how would that be possible? Well, it's possible. And that's the problem. And so, like I said, it's not the courts getting this stuff wrong. It's that technology changes so rapidly. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But, it's one thing if you got the intersection downtown covered in cameras. I'm not crazy about it. But when you put one at the end of my driveway, but across the street looking up my driveway and at my house, that would be a problem. And I understand they're being upset by this. So Dan King, the IJ Communications Project Manager, sent me this. Thank you very much. This is, of course, from the IJ. You can check them out at ij.org. I will put a link to them in the description below this video. They've also got a YouTube channel. And they put up videos from time to time where they have people on there talking about cases. I appeared recently on one of their channel videos. It has not aired yet. I believe it'll air this week. So when it does, I'll put up some notes so you see that if you want to. And that was kind of fun. But as I always tell people, the Institute for Justice is doing work that needs to be done. Most people could never afford to take on a case like this. And so they survive based on the generosity of their supporters. They're a nonprofit. So if you can, please support them. Even if you can't, check out their website. Check out their YouTube channel. I'll put both in the description below the video. And support them with moral support, nothing else. It's always good to know that people back what you're doing, whether they're doing it financially or not. So again, public interest law firm calls on Arkansas City to remove surveillance camera from in front of innocent family's home. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Our lives are defined by opportunities, even the ones we miss.